expectation. I'm not saying this season's going to end at Wembley. Hopefully it will, but it does remind me a little bit of the summer of 2011 because nobody was really expecting anything then. Last year, everyone expected the playoffs. That 2011, it was a pretty new team thrown together.
Yeah.
Do you see some similarities? Obviously, you hope that happens again, but do you see some similarities with the stage of 2011 now?
I mean, we did have some new investment around that time, which enabled us to further support the playing squad. But to be honest, I think there's going to be a lot of clubs in Football League 2 this year, Exeter, for example, who are going to be acting or trying to work on smaller budgets or smaller squads. Actually, we're going to have a slightly bigger squad because we've got more young players in there. But I think it's difficult. Season ticket sales were down obviously than last year, and we anticipated that to an extent. That's why it's so important that we make a good start to the season and we get people coming to the ground and in good numbers and staying with us for the season. So, do I see similarities? Possibly not, although in terms of the changes, there is quite a few changes in the squad, a lot of changes to the squad to be fair, and the changes to the management structure. So I think they're actually all positives. Because I think, clearly last season was a negative, so we've got rid of, I think, a lot of the reasons. That's the wrong word, but we made changes and learned from mistakes, so hopefully you won't repeat some of the things that happened last year. So I'm genuinely pretty bullish and positive, and I think I've been working harder in this close season than I have for some before that. There's quite a lot of stuff going on. We've had meetings with lots of different people. Some things I can't really talk about, but things to do with the stadium that are quite exciting. We're doing some changes at the club. The shop's the whole commercial office is moving over to where the shop is. So we're having the shop and the ticket office and the commercial office all in one thing. That's all being moved about. We're looking, following the fan survey, we're looking at having a really good tidy up of the stadium. We're looking at ground catering. We're just about to do a survey on fans' views on catering, what's wrong, what's right. Looking at getting a bar put in behind the Prestbury Road end. So there is lots going on. It's just that really frustrating time that we're not in a position to make announcements because there's a lot of work in progress.
Yeah. There's one player that's on the transfer list at the moment. Just want to ask about him. Has there been any interest in Jason Taylor?
Not to my knowledge. But I didn't, to be honest, he wasn't discussed when I met with Mark this morning. So as far as I know, he'll be reporting to training with the rest of the squad.
Yes, it's only a week away, and I know you're expecting there to be a bigger squad this season. So do you think a lot of the transfers might happen later on in the pre-season period? Or I think a lot might happen in the next week or two before training starts properly.
Well, I would think we're going to have a couple in place by the 23rd of June, perhaps more than that. I just think it's important that we don't knee-jerk, that we don't start panicking because the season's fast approaching and we've only got so many players. The season doesn't start till early mid-August, and we're now early mid-June. So we're not panicking. We're just seeing what's available, making sure that we get the best within the budget that we've got. And obviously that's what every other manager and football club is trying to do. We know Mark's got a pretty good record on recruitment, so there's a lot of trust in him. But also he's got the new first team coach now, who's also going to be helping, and Stevie Elliott's going to be helping. So it's not all just on Mark's shoulders, which is a good thing.
Will you set a target at the moment, or are you going to wait until the squad's finalised before you start setting targets for the season?
I don't know. I think in business and things you set targets and I get the reason why you do that. We haven't had a conversation with Mark yet about what the expectation is. I mean, clearly, the expectation needs to be to do better than we did last year, both in terms of where we finished, but also in terms, I think, of the way, the style of football and the way we played at home. Those are things that really do need to be addressed. And I think the change in formation, I think most fans would welcome a 4-3-3 formation. So I think there's lots of things we've got to address. But in terms of targets, clearly, I would love to be in the playoffs and have a good cup run, and that would be our aspiration.
Yeah, and it's the Carling Cup, Capital One, Cup draw on Tuesday. There's some good. You consider it's the first round. There's some very big clubs in there. Yeah, almost guaranteed a good draw. What have you had a look through and seen who you'd like to get?
No, I'm not really, John. I mean, what will be. But that's been that was a great competition for us last season, as you know, and it is in some ways. You got in every way you've got a chance of getting a Premiership club very early on in in the second round, haven't you? Whereas FA Cup, you have to wait so much longer to get that. So no, it would be magical again to get a Premiership club if we can get through the first hurdle. I think if we can do well in that competition, it will give us confidence to possibly strengthen the budget early in the season, like we did last year. You know, when the West Ham thing happened, we were able to speculate a little bit more from a position of security. There's no way we're going to be speculating on money we haven't got.
Yeah. Is there pressure on Mark early in the season because of the way last season finished? Because no matter which way you look at it, it was a backward step last season. So is there more pressure on his shoulders?
I think there probably is, because obviously Mark has enjoyed a very popular run as manager, and last season we obviously saw some discontent, which was understandable. Discontent at Mark and discontent at some of the players, but I do hope actually that we can start the season collectively getting behind the new players and the old players and the manager, because it just doesn't help anybody to be overly critical in public of players and the manager. At the end of the day, we are Cheltenham Town, we are all in it together, whether you're the fan, whether you're the manager, whether you're the chairman, whether you're a player, we are all in it together, we all want the same thing. So I would just ask fans to be a little bit more positive. I just hate negativity. Let's have some positivity. Certainly going into the season, there will be some good signings. We've made 2 good signings already. I think fans have received those signings in a very good light. So I think they're good signings. So I just want to get away from negative stuff, and try and present a positive image, because there's lots to be positive about. We are, how many years have we been out in the Football League? Bristol Rovers are a non-league side, and Hereford, we're Hereford. So those 2 teams that people used to regard as our rivals are now well below us. So there's huge things we should be really chuffed about.
Yeah, I know you've been down tidying up the ground ready for the start of the season on Sunday, and it's happening again for the next 3 or 4 weeks. So if anyone wants to get involved in that, how do they?
Just turn up, prepare to get a bit dirty. We're not doing painting work. I just want a really good spruce. It's lots of sweeping and brushing and digging and moving, filling skips and stuff like that. Turn up at 10 o'clock, and I'm sure that there'll be people there to welcome you with a spade and a shovel, or whatever it will be. And we want to get back to that camaraderie again, and that engagement. And I've said so many times that last year there was not enough engagement at all levels of the football club, and this year I want there to be far more engagement. And that starts with these sort of events where fans are coming along and the chairman or other directors might be there. It starts with the open day when everyone's going to be there. There'll be far more fan engagement, and I want fans to feel that they can be engaged with this football club.
Brilliant. Thanks, Paul.
Cheers.